So guys, the first question is what is Terraform, right? This is the first question. So when I see Terraform is a tool, again is a tool, but coding for infrastructure. Okay, remember that everything it should go as a code. I mean, in DevOps we all write a code, right? So we write a code for infrastructure. Now next questions is like you will ask, okay, what's in infrastructure? So in infrastructure we have so many things, right? We have AWS, you have Azure, you have servers, you have Google Cloud, you have a VMware, we have a GitHub, you have a Kubernetes, anything we see in the infrastructure. So now the question is like which infrastructure you can code for it using Terraform, so that you can get it using concept called providers. So now if you see that here Terraform providers, if I write it and I can code for, you see 4110, that is increasing every day actually. So I remember that when I started coding using Terraform, hardly we have for 2030 or something. Now you look at these providers, 4000 providers you can code for it using Terraform. So this is a important thing. So not everything we want to use it in our session or in work. You will use 4-5 providers. So in this session we are going to use the AWS provider. Okay, so these are the one which you see major blocks. These are major providers, and smaller one also is available. Overall 4000 plus providers are there. That means these are the tools we have in the infrastructure. Using that you can code using Terraform. Yes, so you have a multiple releases of Terraform. So one is Terraform alone, the one which I'm teaching you. We have an enterprise as well, and another one is cloud actually. So these are basically paid version of it. This is also paid version of it, but you know what is the difference? UI is there, that's all. And here you have a UI, but here it's a command line tool and it's a free. This is what I'm teaching you, because UI and cloud, I'm not seen in very, I mean nowadays few organizations are adopting it, but hardly I've seen like adoption is there for enterprise and cloud. Okay, so free one which you have to learn all this coding and all. This is just for the enterprise management, UI, reporting, auditing, logging, and all that, security, and all kind of things. Okay, so this tool has been written in Go. Okay, that means the moment I say Go, you should not ask those questions like can I run in Linux, can I run in the Windows, Mac, because Go is a platform independent. You can run anywhere. Okay, so this is something which we have. So now this is a Terraform. Why? Simple. We want to write a code for infrastructure. That means code for everything. Now question is how to install it. Okay. So installation for the HashiCorp product is very easy. Terraform is from the HashiCorp. So it's very easy, you know, for that region. So how to install it? So typically what we do, we download, extract and copy it somewhere. That's all. Nothing great about it. So if you go for here, Terraform install DevOps school, you will see the tutorials, detailed one. But anyways, I'm showing the demo. You can see that here. You see uh, tutorials, installations, and configuration. So everything you have it here. But because I'm anyways showing you, so directly I'll show you from the website. So just to put it Terraform download, and here is you have for Mac, Windows, AMD 64-bit download, and keep it in your local. Good to go. So what I have done probably in the last session, I have already done that, and that is for using tools. Terraform. See, this is executable. It's just download. No need to install. No need to configure. Nothing is required. Now you know if you want to use a command line everywhere, Terraform. So just set in the path. That's all. And I might have done it already. Let me show you. Go to the path. And do you have it somewhere? I think it's not there. I guess, right? Correct now. So let me add it. Done. Work is completed. So this is how you write a Terraform. Any questions so far? All of you? All of you? Hello, am I audible, right? Am I audible,
Yes,
all of you?
yes, yes.
Okay. So this is how you install. Let me validate it whether it's got installed or not. So for that, I'll go to that directory and here open up a command line cmd and terraform enter. That's all. So that means you have installed this terraform. That's good to go. So now next thing is okay, how to start coding. That is important, right? How to start coding. So that is the things we have to learn. But before that, you need to know how Terraform works. Okay, that's very important. So if you understand that, this will help you to understand the behavior of Terraform. So what happens? Let's understand through the image. The first thing, this is Olbridge. This is you. Okay, this is you, and you are going to write one code in Terraform. How to write a code? That's the important one. I'll teach you. See, this is your code. Now, in what specification you have to write a code for the infrastructure, I'll come back to you. You write a code. Now, this code you want to send it to AWS, okay, and you want to send it to Azure also, and let's say one more provider you can take it up Kubernetes or GitHub or something like that, because more than 4,000 providers are there, right? Using that, you can write a code for it. So what you want in AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, or something like GitHub or Kubernetes, whatever it is, what you want to do, you know that very well. You are, you know the requirement for that reason while you are coding, right? So one thing which if you notice here, each tool support API, right? So even though if you want to automate something, you can this let's say this is you and you want to automate directly instead of using Terraform, you can directly use the API of GitHub, you can use API of Azure, you can use API of AWS. They provide SDK, but code, the problem is you can do that all this thing very much, but the codes are different, code specifications are different, you have to learn different types of coding standard, and that is really irritating. Okay, so what we do, can I learn the one coding standard? Please remember, one coding standard for all the providers. That means I should not change the coding specifications for AWS or Azure or so on. So can we do that? So that is where the coding which we are writing, you will write in the Terraform. This is called SCL coding. Okay, what is SCL? So SCL is like a configure specifications for the coding standard. It's like HashiCorp configuration language, and that coding is if you compare with the other coding standard, it's very easy to do that, and which you will realize in few minutes. So now this you write in SCL, which is human friendly coding standard, and this coding standard will work for all the providers. So you don't need to learn some different specification for AWS, different specification for Azure, and so on. If you have 4,000 specification, you would die actually. So that is the case. So here you will learn only one coding standard, that's called SCL. But you know what? SCL is very user friendly for the human being. But SCL code is not understood by this API. So because they don't understand this code, they cannot do that, because every API has their own standard of the specification, correct? So what do we do in this case? So what we do, this code we send it to the Terraform. Here we Terraform and saying that, hey, I want to either create this code, I mean create this infrastructure, or I want to update this infrastructure, or I want to destroy if you have already created. These are the three things you do: create, update, and delete, destroy, correct, something like that. But you know what? The code has been received by for SCL by Terraform, but this code is not compatible with all this API. So what we need to do? We need to use provider. We can call it a plugin also. So AWS has got their own provider, AWS provider. This Azure has got their own providers, Azure providers, and GitHub they have got own providers and all. That's the reason we have a 4,000 providers. You saw that. Why we have a 4,000 provider? Because every platform they have created one provider for themselves. Okay, so now what will happen? Whatever the code you had for AWS, whatever the code you have for Azure, and whatever the code you have for GitHub, this Terraform executable will send to this provider executable, convert this code, and send it to APIs. APIs. Simple. So now here is a human-friendly code which you write. getting converted in the compatible code by this provider executable. This is executable. This is also executable. I'll show you this. I showed you already. This I'll show you in some time. So this provide they get the API supported code, and ultimately when you make a request to API, what they will response. So this response is JSON file, right? Response will be in a JSON file. So all this JSON response, Terraform consolidate and put it in a state file. What file? State file. And the work is done. So if you see that here, this is your code, which is your desire, and what is actually in infrastructure, this is actual. And this matching this desire versus actual, this integrity work, that's the work of the Terraform. And here you can change, create from scratch, update and delete. So this is a JSON format, state file, and so on. So how the Terraform works, do you know? Did you understand this? All of you? All of you?
Yes.
Okay, so what we have to do? So if you follow this image, I need to install the first of all Terraform. Let me change the color. Which color I should go for it? Black. So I should install the Terraform first, which I did it. Then I should write a code, which I will do that. Before that, I should have a providers also, and then I should write a code and then run the create, update using this apply. These two things together, apply and destroy. That's all. Two commands you have to remember. And then this if you have right authentications, okay, then it will generate a JSON file, which is state file, we call it in Terraform, and work is done. So this is a complete flow, 1 2 3 4 and so on. So Terraform, I've installed it. I am going to install the provider. How can we install it? So that's a through coding actually. So the question is how to start coding. So first rule you have to remember, there's one directory, okay? In directory you have one Terraform files which is ending with a .tf. That means the code which is stored in a Terraform is a .tf files actually. So you have one tf file or multiple tf files. Please remember that if you have one tf file or multiple tf file, that all is considered to be one project. That means in one directory, if you have hundreds of files or only one file which has every code, it's the same thing. Did you understand that, all of you? Hello?
Yeah, Rajesh. Yeah.
Yeah. So why we have a different files? The simple humans are, get complicated if the things get bigger. So they keep it in a small section. Modular, actually, we call it, right? Modular programming. You keep not everything in one file, keep it in separate files, so easy to identify where is the problem, how to troubleshoot, debug, this, that, and all kind of things. Okay, so how to start coding? Simple, you write a Terraform code in the .tf in one directory, whether you have everything in one file or multiple files, it's the same thing. Now next thing is, which I said, workflow commands. So here you have a init command, then apply command, and destroy command. So this command you need to remember, though there's few more commands, but those are secondary one, you will get it. Okay, so this Terraform init, Terraform apply, Terraform destroy. Now plan also, by the way, plan Terraform. Okay, I'll show you that. So these are the commands which you need to learn. Now the question is, how do we write a code? So first thing, it has to be in the TF file. Now the second thing, when you write a code, you have to first get into that what you want. What you want. So let's say I'm going for AWS programming today. So here, what I want, resources. See, in AWS or Azure, you go for Azure, AWS, or anything as such. I mean, any API-based application nowadays you go, what we call it, resources. Remember. So what do you want? I want EC2 resources. I want EBS resources. I want S3 resources. I want VPC resources. I want subnet resources. I want security group resources. I want Route 53 resources. I want resources. In the API world, it's all about the resources. So yes, you specify what resources you want, but you know what? When you go for resources, you have to specify what are the attributes, right? For example, if I go for creating a one EC2 instance here, and you have to specify, right? My name, MIDs, instant type, key pairs, network security, BPCs, EBS, everything, right? So that is called attributes. So you may have to specify multiple attributes, attributes 1, attribute 3, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So now you know what, some of these attributes are mandatory. You cannot ignore it, even though if you go for the console based or command line, you cannot ignore it. For example, you have to provide the type that is required. But something which is you find in the under the advanced section, you don't select it until the requirement is coming. Correct. So here, this is the code. Basically, what is a Terraform code? So Terraform code is nothing but a collection of resources and their attributes. This is your code. Simple. Nothing great about it. So now the first question was, how can we download the providers? This is the one. And then how can we write a code? And this both you can do through the coding. How? Let me show you. So I will go to documents. So here if you have AWS document, always refer the official documents only. Why? Because this world is changing a lot. Every week we have a changes. So you don't want to struggle it out, refer the official documents. Spend more time on official documents alone. Okay. So don't refer, though you can refer my blogs, a lot of it is there, but I don't update the blogs every day, and the changes here is coming every day. So go to this one and ask AWS provider, hey AWS provider, can you please tell me what are the resources you have? And you see here, they have, these are the category. These are the category. In fact, if you go to the AWS, they have a category, right? See here, they have a category. See, these are the categories, subcategory, right? These are the category here, all services. See, and then if you go to EC2 is a subcategory, and inside that so many resources, right? So same way. So these are the one, you have it. So what you want basically, say I want EC2. So somewhere here, do you see EC2 somewhere? Here it is. And which are the resources? So what, see under the EC2 you have so many resources. What you want? I want AWS instance. So here, this is the one. See, this is a resource, AWS instance, some examples, and you must go down a little bit. Every resources will be like that. Arguments reference. These are the arguments which you can pass it. See, pretty long. Why? It's not about the Terraform has given you whatever the features you have in AWS, they have provided here. Not everything is required though. And here you have some examples actually. See. So what do you want? I want the one EC2 instance. Okay, what type, what tag, and all this stuff. Simple. So, but here I did not come for this coding because I started coding this one. I wanted to first download the provider. So what to do? So I will ask, hey, AWS, how can I use that provider? So here it is. This is the one. So right now I'm going to create one file inside this, and the name of the file I would call out, and that is, why the notepad is missing, I don't know, understand. So here I'm calling this name can be anything. Okay, providers dot df. This means the moment I read the file, I get to know the code you have stored here, which is for the provider, right? So done. Here, what do you want? Provided CWS. So this code is ready. I just copied it. Nothing great. This is the version of provider, and this is the important one actually. This is optional, by the way. If you don't provide though, it will take latest version. But here you can specify the version. I'm good to go. So now the question is, I have coded for this, and how do I download it? So init command, which I showed you. So Terraform init is to use for downloading the provider. So that means the moment you run the init in that directory where the code is lying, it will see download the provider. See here, it will take few seconds. It depends on the internet speed, and then done. So this is how you can download any providers. If you go for AWS, you did the same way. If you go for another providers, let's say if I go for Azure one, so click on this and just say, hey, I want to use your providers. Here is same thing. Correct now? Are you understanding, all of you?
Yeah.
Are you understand? Hello?
Yeah, you are audible. Ayush.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I downloaded the providers, and I don't know why it's very slow. Just wait for a few seconds. I've got very bad addictions of not waiting, but I have to wait here. It's taking too much time. Usually, it will not take time if you have a good internet. Not sure my internet is having some degraded speed or something maybe. I mean, are you finding difficulties hearing me, audio or something, or screen lagging?
No, your audio is clear.
Okay, so now I don't know why it's took. I mean, typically it will take few seconds, but it has taken almost 1 minute, I guess. So yeah, you have downloaded. Do you want to see that? Where is that? So it will be in hidden directory. Let me show you. This is the hidden directory. Terraform. Go to the providers. Go to the registry. Go to the HashiCorp. Go to the AWS. Go to the version. Go to the Windows, and this is your executable. So there are two executable. One is a Terraform executable. One is a provider executable. So that is done. So if you see that I install the Terraform, I install the providers. Now I'm writing a code. See here, this code. This code is important. Okay. So how do we write a code? So I'm going to copy from there only. Why should I struggle for it? So here, this is the code. Remember that skeleton, resources plus attributes. So that's your code. See here. Now here you have some hard coding data and all. I'll just remove it. And AMI, I'll put it up. So what is AMI ID which you want to create it? So AMI ID. I'm just reading the AMI. And if you go for Ubuntu, I'm going for 20. Okay. So AMI ID is somewhere here. So every machine image you have AMI ID and done. This is the thing, this is the one, whatever you want, that's all. So here like this, likewise, if you want any other resources, you keep adding it like this and done. So this is the coding actually. Now I'm going to put it up in the different file because I can keep it everything in one file, but I mean just for easy management and for your visualizations also, it's a good AWS.tf I'll call it, and my system is behaving a little odd this time. Done. Okay. So coding is also done. Only one resources with a few attributes I am creating. Now what to do? Nothing great. You know that here. Init for downloading the provider, which I did it. Plan for dry run. Apply for creating and updating, and destroy for destroying the resources. So I'll run the plan and apply. Let's see what happens. So I run Terraform plan. Code is there. See, there's some syntax issues. I mean, something like this, you should read it and fix it. That's a good. And here I know that AMI is in string actually. So they are saying it cannot be an integer. And here I did a plan. Now if I get this error, if you see that error, here it was API, I mean authentication error. What is this? AWS authentication error. So understand that when you have a code here, you send it to Terraform. Terraform convert this code to the provider and send to API. API cannot create your resources just like that. There's some certain authentication has to be there, right? Correct. So that is the problem. We don't have authentication set. What do we do? So I will ask a provider itself, though you know that you must be knowing actually, but even though I'll ask a provider itself, hey provider, AWS, how can we set authentications? So go to the home page of that provider and search for authentication somewhere here. And if you see that these AWS provide these 6 different types of authentication services in AWS, and all these supported by Terraform. So one of these you can go for it and use it. There's all the description has been given, and I'm using only one. That is more than sufficient. And I'll go to the providers and add this item. You have to have the region name, access key, and secret key, and that's done. So what is the region name? I'm working on it. So it's a Mumbai. And what is the access key? So let me create it. And done. That's all. Now if I do that, plan, see how many plan with dry run. It will tell you how many resources it will create. 1 to add, 0 to change, and 0 to destroy. That means this resources will be created. Only one. And you're good. Now, if you do the apply, it will create a resources. It will create a resources or update. Apply is for the both creating and updating. Now he's asking, hey, are you sure you want to create one resources or 0 to change, 0 to destroy? I say yes, I'm sure about it. Now it's creating resources. Now if you go to AWS, go to the AWS here. You see earlier I had one resources, North Virginia, Mumbai. See here, hello world, and it's creating. And see, it's done. Refresh, done. Okay, so this is how it is actually. You can create resources like this. Now I want to update it. So see, understand that the concept. If you update this one, then it will destroy the resources and recreate a new VM, new resources. Why? Because that's in behavior of AMI. You cannot replace the AMI while running the VM. You have to replace that. But can I replace the tag? For example, can I change the tag here? See here, edit option is there, right? You can change the tag. That means anything which you can change through UI and API, you can change through the Terraform also. So for example, I'm adding some changes here, and then once again I do apply, and you see what happens. And you see here they are trying to detect what changes you have it, and they are saying, hey, there is update now. You see one change. Not to add, one change is there. And yes, I say yes, it should be done. And now Terraform will make it. But instead of that, if you modify this one or this one, they will destroy and recreate it. That is a thing. And change is done. And finally, once the work is done, you can destroy. Destroy. Sorry, spelling mistake. Destroy the resources. So just imagine if you right now have only one resources, in real case you have thousands of resources written like that, and using one command you can apply and you can destroy. And how many environment you want to create? You want to create develop environment, one apply. You want to create a staging environment, one apply. You want to create a production environment, apply. Simple. So now are you able to understand the power of Terraform, all of you?
Yes.
Yeah, Rajesh.
So some of the examples code I must ask you, for example, just for learning purpose, you just come here and type Terraform, enter. Okay, and here some of the example code, for example, AWS, right? So let me search for AWS. That will be easy. So here, so many tutorials you will have it. See here. So for example, this code, okay, this code will create one security group, one instance, and certain user provisioner. So here, if you see, provider is there. security group is this code, and followed by the rules and all. This is the EC2 instance and so on. So likewise, we have a few more examples here. See here you have a key pair examples just for trying out here. See here, you are creating one resources, for example, one key. You are creating one key pair on AWS. You are creating one VMs. Again, you are creating one more VM as well. So few examples are there. You can practice it. That's not a problem. Now, when you write a code, what to do? So guys, see anything when you see few things when you write it, you have to expect few things by default. What is that? One is thing like variables, another one is conditioning, another one is looping. So these are the things you should expect that, and functions. Okay, function, built-in function, custom function is not available. Built-in functions are available. Why? Because Terraform is written in Go. All the Golang functions you can use in Terraform also. So the question is, how can we set up variables? So let me straight away show you the one important slides image basically, and that will help you a lot. That is called this one. Okay, so look at my screen here. So these are the types of variables you can define in the Terraform. One is string, another is a number, another is boolean, another is a list, map, and few more. Okay, so now I have this image which is very important for you. So you'll ask, okay, I can define the variable, but where can I define the variable? So you need to understand this image, and this image itself will clear many knowledge immediately. Okay, so basically you can define the variable in Terraform many places. Where are? So you can define in the Terraform files also. Yes, the one which I created. If you think no, I want to define in the environment variable, yes, you can do that also. So any variables which you want to define in the environment variable, you have to prefix with tf underscore var and then variable name and values followed by. Okay, and you can define the variable on the command line also. How? So whatever the command line you run, right? Terraform apply, plan, all this thing, or destroy, you can define the variables over there also. How? So in the command line itself, -var is equal to the variable name and then values followed by. Okay, so these are the three places you can declare the variables. But you know what? There are certain files has been given where you can declare only values. Values. I repeat, values. So one of this is here pattern JSON, and this is a TFR file. So most of the time you'll see this one. Whenever you find terraform.tfrs, that means the values are hard coded in this file. That means the practice says, though you can define the variables anywhere and values anywhere, but if you have a values file separately, it will be easy for maintaining it. So you can change it immediately this file and do the modifications. So that is the something which you have it. So I'm going to show you this variables defining in the Terraform file and using it. Okay. Now, by the way, if you declare the variable but you do not set the values, then Terraform will prompt you for values. That is also this is called interactive options. Okay. So that is something which we should check it out. Okay. So now question is, how can we declare the variables? So let me copy one simple example, and that will help you. And I need a 1, 2, right? So, huh. So this example will be sufficient for you. Okay, and this is for everything. So now what I'm doing, I just want this one to be replaced everywhere. Done. And now I'll modify this one. I don't need this one. Okay. So now the question is, how can we set a variable? So see, variable here you are setting up type number, here string, and here list, and here map. These are the popular. In fact, one more variable which is popular, which is boolean. Here is a boolean. Okay, so here you have an instance count is a variable name, type is number, and value is 1. Instance name is a variable name, value is Rajesh, type is string. Here is a list. Okay, security group is a variable name, type list, value. We have only one element. You can put a more element also. And here again, you have a instance tag which is type is map values. There's one. This is the key value, multiple key values you can put it. So how do we use it? The question is, okay, we declare the variables, we set the values for each variables. How do we use it? So here, if you see that instance count, you got the answer. Look at this. So if you want to use the variables, var dot variable name. That's all. Var dot variable name, and that is how you can use it. Simple. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's all. So if you see that here, instance name somewhere here it's been used. If you see the security group somewhere here, var dot da da da. If you see the instance tag, var dot da da da, and used. So depends on that what kind of things you are using. So what
Hey
I'm doing
Rajesh,
right now,
can you repeat that instance count? What does that do?
this one.
Yeah. Oh, it calls the instance count function. Is that what it is?
So here what will happen? Instance count is a variable name. Okay, you can keep it anything whatever you want, and the value is one. Now here what we are doing, you are saying, hey, I'm resource AWS instance, I want to create it. How many? So count is equal to how many? You can write a five. It's a hard coding, not good idea, right? But here you can say five, then it's a good idea, right? And then here automatically it will interpolate. So this is a one place where you declare the variable, and here you get it. I'm setting one because why to create multiple unnecessarily. Got it?
Yeah, got it,
Hello?
got it.
Yeah. So like this, like this count, there's so many attributes are there. I showed you, each resources you have all these attributes. Now these attributes you have to check only the documentation. Why? Before that you should know AWS, by the way, because see, if you don't know the functionality and options available in the AWS, how do you know that the attributes? So if before that you should be pro in that, like, okay, what is the AMI ID? What is the instance type? What is the key pair? What is the network settings? What are the options available? Because this knowledge no one can cover in a Terraform. So you should know this AWS first, then move to the coding standard. Okay, so now I have written a code, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the plan. So by the way, I deleted one code, by the way. That was the last code. So plan, yes. See, this is the variable bool variable. Okay, so they said me, hey, do you want to create it? So if you see that, this is the bool variable, and here I do not pass the values. Did you see that there's no values here? Yes, no. So what happened? They asked me, what do you want? So here I said yes, but it should be true or false. So I press the value, it will become a true. So if you remember this image, here it says Terraform asks for required values not otherwise provided. So that is something which we have. Now it's a plan run, so it will tell me how many resources got created, and you see that here, 3 is to add, 0 to change, 0 to retrieve. That means my code will create 3 resources. I'll tell you why. So there's one resources here, and there's one resources here, and there's one resources here. This will create why? Because I said yes to this one, and here there's a conditions. Look, understand this one. There's a condition. Count is equal to, this is a ternary operator. Okay, in every programming language you use it. So here you say if var dot create VM is true, set 1. If it is false, set 0. So I set true, that means it got 1, created 1. Now there is one error also, and it says, so this is a genuine error because I told you it has to be true and false. So again I'm running, this time I'll pass false. Boolean, right? So true and, oh, again I made a mistake. FALSE. And this time it should tell me 3 resources. How come 3 resources? So 1, 2, okay, 3. So if I say true, it should create a 4 in that case because boolean is the last one. See, 4 resources. See, So now how do we use the variables? Did you understand that, all of you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now this is important. See, programming language, when you learn, this too is important. How to set up conditions and how to set up looping. Okay, that is important. So let me show you some of the programs. You just go to the Google and type Terraform conditioning and put the DevOps school at the end of it. Okay, and this is a my tutorial. Two examples you have it, and you can use this. Okay, so I'll show you this condition simple. So you understand this code, all of you? Just now I've shown you.
Yes. Yes.
So now you see here, you can use a ternary operator to set the condition. Yes, true, because remember that it's a DSL, declarative language. So you won't find conditioning like if, else, or something like that. You won't find it. So here what we are doing, you are playing the clever work. Count is equal to 0. That means this will not create it. If count is equal to 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, so it will create it. So this is the bool variable. If I used in this last play also. So if it is a true, it will set 1. If it is a false, it will set 0. So that is something we have to understand. So this is one of the way to put the condition. But there's one more way, which is called depends on. So what happens? Let me show you. Think simple, okay? Look at this. This is a code. So there's one resources I'm creating. There's another resources I'm creating. But what you want, that this you want that resources to, before creating a AWS bucket, you want that EC to be created. Okay, so what are you going to do? See here, what you are saying, hey, depends on for what? So AWS instance dot example, that is here that they made it a dependency. So this is a way you can put the conditioning in the Terraform as well. So there's a one way you can use the count arguments, clever work, or if you have a two resources, then you want to make it independent to which dependent on each other, you can make it this one. So this is a something which you can do, and these two techniques will help you. Okay, so now next thing is how can we set a looping. So it's same way, you just type looping, and here you see how do we loop or iterate in Terraform. So now if you see that there's a few techniques has been given. Again, you won't find for, while, all this thing, but here there's a way actually. So let me show you here. See here, this is the right way. I have shown you this program already actually, but again for looping. So this is the one instance. How many times it will create, any idea? How many times it will loop? All of you?
Four.
Three, right? Three, right? Correct now? So this is one of the simplest way you can loop any number of resources and count is equal to 3. Now another way you can do it, and that is I want to show you this here. Again, clever use of count. So this many created, it will create. But other way also you have it, and this is the one. We have a for each options. Now for each is a basically arguments itself, but used in a way to loop that resources. So if you see that here, what will happen, for each, here you have a group name East US, another group you have West US. I mean, that means there are two key and value you have it. That means it will try to loop two times. That means it will try to create a group of Azure resources two times, where the name of this Azure group would be key and locations would be value. So this is the key, this is the value, this is the key, and this value. That means it will run two times. So for each, we use it for looping as well. So count and for each. So these are the options available for looping. Okay, now next one is function. So guys, there are so many functions available in Terraform, and these all functions is coming from, you know what? Uh, it's coming from Golang actually. For example, see here, use max function, and max functions will find out all the integers which is a maximum and will give you the results. So for example, max 5, 12, 9, and it will give you 12. So how do we use it? So you can use in the code also. Okay, or you can use in the console also. I'll show you the console. By the way, you should try Terraform function DevOps school, because that way it will help you. So see here, Terraform tutorials, functions in Terraform, and here some examples are given. uh, and all these functions you see here, these are the popular functions. There's a hundreds of functions are there built in. Okay, and how do we use it? Look at this one of the examples. Here you have used count functions. Here you have element functions. Here element, see here. Here you have used join function. Okay, there's one more. Here you have used some function which is merge function. So here you have used merge functions, and the few more functions are there. So how do we use it? So simple. Let's go and try. So there's one more way to try a function is console, Terraform console. So here you can do the live coding basically. Okay. So if you see the max and provide the parameter 5, 6, 7 and give you the output, see, like this. So not only you write in the code, you can write a functions on the console also. We call it Terraform console, and you see the output, and then same concept you can bring it to the things. Okay, so that is also it can be done. Now in Terraform there is one important thing which we have, and that is called module. Okay, this is the most important tool, this most important concept. So the question is, what is a module? That is the most important concept. So far so good. Any questions, all of you? All of you?
No.
Okay, so what is a module? So guys, what if I will tell you that you don't have to code for it? Yes, whatever I'm teaching you, the coding just for you to understand that code. Most of the code has been written already. So what is that? So basically, module is what? Module is basically collections of TF files, TF var files, variables, and so on in one directory. That's called module. Okay, so how do we create a module? So basically, actually you were working for the module only. This one was a module. Yes, a directory which has some Terraform file and this, that, and all, and this is the state file. You see, state file, the one which has a desire. So all these things is called modules. Okay, so here technically you can have a modules and some modules which you can also call it child module. For example, there is one project which is called DevOps school, and then inside that you can have a chat module, child module, mail child module, and so on. So what you can do in the chat, you have a another TF program .tf file. Okay, here also they have a TF file which is related to mail. But you know what? These two child module you can call it from the uh, parent module DevOps school. So here you can have a main.tf. Okay, and in main.tf you can call a module chat and module mail. Okay, so this is something which you can do. That here you also you can have main.tf. Typically first file which is most important, we call it a main.tf. You can keep it in a file name. So that way, if you want to run this module, enable this one. If you want to run this both the module, enable both the module in this tf file. Are you understanding the skeleton, all of you?
Yeah, got it, Rajesh.
So what we are going to do? So because these are root modules, I'm going to delete this. Okay, and here I'm going to call the modules. So first, before that, let me create a modules. So before that, you know what, because I'm using this, let me destroy the setup. The last time I created, right? I don't know, don't remember though I destroyed or not. It's already done. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to create one chat module here, new folder, directory, chat module, and here new folder, same thing which I discussed. I'm doing that. It can be many other also mail modules, and inside that only one code I wanted, this one, and copy this file inside this, and copy this file inside this, and now this is done. So now here this I will name it main.tf, though you should keep it main.tf. I named it because that way you should not understand main.tf. So now this is the root module, and here you have a two child module. Okay, child module, one module is creating one instance. If you see, my directory is becoming slow. Something is a problem with my machine, so I will have to correct it. It's irritating me. So this is the one module and the file, and there's another module and file. Okay, so there's a two modules there. Now the question is, how do we write this file main.tf? So let me open up this one, and now I'll go for skeleton. I'll just copy the skeleton. I just write Terraform modules and DevOps school. So this I'm creating a custom module, by the way. So I just copy the skeleton. That's all I need it. And here, this is the one. Mod one. I'll name it, or let's call it chat and mail. Now, which is the directory? So here dot means current directory, mail, and dot chat. It can be relative directory and also here you see opposite, right? Yeah, done. Name can be anything, but this has to be directory name. That's all. So this is how you create a module. Module is a way to organize a large amount of code in a certain module. So if you want to run only one module, you can comment this one out, or this you can comment it out, and good to go. So can we check that code is okay or not? So it's a called custom module. Okay. So run the plan, and I should see two resources to be created. So if you see that there is one error has come, it says modules are not installed because I introduced the modules and it's not been initiated first time. So I have to do run init. So when you add a new module, you have to init, so that way it get initialized, and after that run the plan. Mistake, run the plan. See here, two modules, two resources. It can be multiple. So this is the way you can create a custom modules also to organize the large amount of code in the subdirectory, and then whichever you want it to run, you can run it. Are you understanding, all of you?
Yes.
But you know what? I said one thing statement. What about if I tell you you don't have to write even one code actually? Yes, I mean it. You don't have to write one code. Why? Because you know what? Most of the module has been written already. You just need to know how it works. Yes. So I taught you all these commands, codes and all just to make you comfortable for troubleshooting sessions. But all this code has been written. Where is that? So just go for Terraform modules. Remember that how many providers we had it? I think 4,000 providers. Now how many modules which has been written? And if you look at this, it's growing actually. And you see 16,000 modules is already written by community, available free of cost you to use it. Now this is 60,000 which is registered at this website, but in a GitHub also you will find a hell lot of modules which you can find it and not registered. So almost all the code has been written. You have to just use it. For example, let's say I want to create a VPC on AWS. That means I want to create a VPC, subnet, route table, internet gateway, NAT gateway, IGW, all these things. You have to probably you spend 2 to 3 days to write a code in Terraform and validate the code. and you may not have to, you may not be able to write a good code because you don't know each and every functionality of the VPC. You have to learn again. You spend 1 week of time to learn all this thing. But can we create in 1 minute? Yes. See here, VPC module has been written already, shared by, and it's written by AWS, and you can go and use it. See here, this is the example, and this is a module. I'm going to use it module now. See here, see here. So this is the my module, and if you see the source, this is the community module. Automatically the website will be added, and you want to see the code here. You can go to the GitHub. Where's that? You see the GitHub link somewhere? Here it is. And you see, if you really want to learn how the code to write, you see that you just go through this, and there's a module VPC endpoints, and run this. See, main, output, all these are tier programs. Spend one code with one code. These are all the TF file, and you'll become expert. By the way, code has been written by AWS itself, and they share free of cost. So what do you want to change? So you have to change the name, CIDR. I'll keep it as it is, but region I'm working in APC is south one, right? So that I have to change it. I know that APC South has a minimum 3 available region. CIDR, I'll keep it as it is. Net gateway is taking a lot of time, so I'll make it false. I don't want it. It's a paid services, by the way. VPN gateway, I'll also make it false because I don't want it. So what will create it? It'll create a VPC subnet route table and internet gateway. That's all. And these two, I don't want. And how many subnets will be created? So one public subnets and one private. That means total 6 subnets will be created, and the 3 is ACs. Simple. Are you understanding, all of you? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Got it. Got it.
Now let me do the plan. There's a problem. What is this? Init you have to run because I installed the new modules, right? Done. And then plan. And see, 24 resources will be created. Remember, you have written only this coding for 2 modules or 2 resources, and 22 extra will be created. And this, you can see the list of it. I am not running apply because it will just create resources, but you can do that. Let me show you one, at least this one. Plan apply hyphen. I did apply. That means it will create a, and here they'll ask yes, no, yes, I want to, and it's creating. See, and if we go to AWS VPC, search for VPC, and here search for it. See, my VPC got created, right? And it'll take few more minutes. It got created so fast, you see. And you see subnets, 6 subnets got created as part of this. Route tables got created. Gateways got created. See, first one. I did not do any coding actually, just downloaded some code from the internet, community portal. So how many modules you have already? 16,000 plus, and every day is growing actually, and so on. So that's the reason I said you don't have to do this. So let me destroy this. In one command, I can destroy everything. In one command, you can create everything. In one command, you can update everything. So that's a power of Terraform. Did you understand that, all of you?
Have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.